Bad news. Devin Haney likely needs a confidence builder fight after a hellacious Ryan Garcia fight. Eddie Hearn spills the beans on why that may not necessarily happen, and it puts Devin Haney in a very precarious type of situation. So we're going to listen to what Eddie Hearn had to say. Without further ado, subscribe to the channel. It goes a long way when you guys subscribe because I'm the best in the business delivering you, the fans, the content you need. Roll the clip.
Stars, and when you look at the likes of Boots and Bam Rodriguez and Diego Pacheco and Shakur, and we've got a tremendous stable.
I asked you last week about Devin Haney, who I spoke to, and he said he's open to a Liam Paro fight in Australia if the numbers make sense. That was about a week ago. Have things changed at all?
Not really,
then?
no. I mean, ultimately, when Devin says if the numbers make sense, that basically means the fight's not going to happen, because in Devin's mind, Devin's in a really interesting spot. Like, without Riyadh season, I don't know. Like, if I'm Devin Haney, I have to come back in almost like a bit of a confidence building fight. He might not like that term, but that if I was representing him and guiding his career, that's what I'd be doing. And the money for a confidence building fight probably don't really get him out of bed. And I think with Devin, sometimes you've got to strip it back a little bit and just work on, go back to basics and say, I need to kind of rebuild a little bit now. The biggest, or one of the biggest fights in boxing is Devin Haney against Ryan Garcia, rematch. He cannot go into that fight without having a confidence booster, in my opinion. But it's very difficult to get a confidence booster and get 4 million in having it. Do you know what I mean? So he almost needs to sit back and take $1 million for a relatively straightforward fight.
Well, I think he's hoping that his
Dang. Eddie Hearn was kind of cooking y'all.
excellency might come to the table.
Everybody's hoping that he's excellency.
Because I had heard he'd even talk about October 12th. He was talking about maybe
look,
being
we
on
had a
that.
chat. I took Devin to his excellency at the front row of the LA card, to do something. He went and saw him a couple of weeks after. There was talks about October 12th. His excellency, he likes Devin Haney. I think he might get an opportunity. But the problem is his excellency's not going to want Devin Haney in a confidence builder fight. He's going to want him to fight Teofimo Lopez, Ryan Garcia, Gervonta Davis. And that's not the fight for Devin right now. Devin needs to get out in December in a fight. And sometimes you've just got to acknowledge the money and say, look, I need this for my own development. But money is everything. It's key to those guys. And they're just, all they think about is the purse instead of the development of his career. He's still a young man. Like, if he gets the next move wrong, his career will be over. Because he won't.
Oh my gosh. If he gets Eddie Hearn, that's a cold piece of work. He said if he gets the next move wrong, his career will be finito.
I know, $15, $20 million to do something. He went and saw him a couple of weeks after. I mean, he would have made, I think,
$5
if he's, I know, 15, 20 million. Money is everything. It's key to those guys. And they're just,
money is
all they
everything.
Think about is
all
the
they
purse.
think about is the purse.
Instead of the development of his career. He's still a young man. Like, if he gets the next move wrong, his career will be over. Because he won't come back. Do you know what I mean? He would have made his money. I know, $15, $20 million in the bank. Lovely. But that's where you need the hunger. You need the right people around you to make the right decisions.
So if you could make any fight for
Man, oh man.
Devin Haney before the end of the year, what would you do?
Listen, I like the Paro fight because I think he's arguably a favourite in that fight. But you don't know how he's going to come back after that Ryan Garcia performance.
He's also not getting within that 10-pound rehydration clause
so
at 140.
really, you're looking
that to me is crazy.
Yeah, you're looking at a fight. I would make a catch weight fight between 140 and 147. But you got to make the right bit of matchmaking, because then if he's not getting a lot of money, they ain't going to want to fight anyone dangerous. So it's a real difficult spot.
All right, so you're here.
Wow. Listen, Eddie Hearn was cooking. Now, I told you a long time ago that I am truly the best in the business, and it's not even close. Notice the things that Boxing Ego says always comes to light. 99.999% of the time. Immediately following Ryan Garcia versus Devin Haney, Haney got dropped. They said 3 times. It was way over that. I told you he might not come back the same. We've seen it with Meldrick Taylor. I don't think Bermaine Stavern was exactly the same after the Deontay Wilder, oh my God, Tuscaloosa, Alabama, first fight. We've seen this before. And people said, oh, you're hating. Devin will come back stronger. Well, guess what? The guy he's worked with for many fights, Eddie Hearn, and promoter, he's not exclusive to Eddie Hearn. Devin Haney is not. Eddie is pretty much throwing him under the bus. And this is almost a continuation of his interview with Andre Ward, right? Because he said a lot of things that kind of threw Devin Haney under the bus. Over the rehydration clause, lack thereof, in the Ryan Garcia fight, how things were handled. Devin's team and entourage grew so big where it basically had a lot of yes men. And then now he's saying what he's saying. He's saying that Devin, his career's over if he fights Ryan Garcia again and loses. He's saying that if I was exclusively working with Devin Haney, it would be paramount and imperative that we get it right on the matchmaking because Devin Haney could very well suffer. But he said the problem is you got guys, a lot of these young guys like Devin Haney, they just care about the money. They want the money. They want to be able to brag about the purses. Again, I told you trying to keep up with Gervonta Davis, but Tank is in a different category. I try to tell you, between Canelo and Tank, those are the faces of boxing. No other. There's nothing else needs to be said. Canelo can still draw a crowd. He's doing his live gates. And then there's Gervonta Davis right there, right? Out of the younger generation than Canelo, period. But these guys are trying to keep up and they're trying to rush the process. They're trying to figure out the sauce. So they're changing the recipe instead of just building and branding. And I think this is what got Devin Haney in the situation that he's currently in, which is now a difficult one. You're even hearing Eddie Hearn say this. It's a difficult situation because in layman's terms, what Eddie Hearn is saying as a promoter who's worked with Devin Haney is Devin will be ruled by the almighty dollar. He's going to want to get comparable paychecks to what he got when he was undefeated. Now, hold on. I know some people are saying, hey, he's still undefeated. Technically, he is. But we all seen what happened in the Ryan Garcia fight. So people are looking at that different, kind of with the asterisk by it. Because based on Ryan's positive test with the SARM, you got it reversed. But initially, you took a L, right? That's just what it is. And we don't know what fighter will get coming off of such a bad night like Devin Haney. So I agree with Eddie Hearn. Eddie Hearn is cooking. Devin Haney's in between a rock and a hard place because he's going to want to command top dollar, but everything that's transpired from 420 to present day has pretty much hurt his career. Tank ran up on him at the Canelo Munguia fight week and was like throwing up his hands and like, yeah, I'm on your side. I'm on your side. And then Devin slid in the car. That wasn't really a great look. Obviously, the Ryan Garcia dropping him a gang of times and then dancing in the final round. Devin's cheek being out here. That wasn't a great look. And when I'm saying great look, you can argue, okay, Devin showed a lot of heart. Yes, there's journeymen that show heart. I'm talking about a good look in terms of things that positively build your brand and are a positive look. Like Tank knocking out Frank Martin, that only fuels and grows the legend of Gervonta Davis. Devin's cheek being all inflated and, looking like a chipmunk, rescue rangers, getting dropped a gang of times doesn't do that for him. It's kind of common sense. So Then he's getting in fights at the OC County Fair. Also wasn't a good look. You punched a civilian, didn't even drop him. The guy looks like he was pursuing you when you walked away and your crew ran away. You know what I'm saying? So these things don't really help your brand in the pot. Like, it's not going to help your purse demands, because we all know boxing is a what have you done for me lately type of sport. So with that being said, what you've done for us lately is have a loss overturned, fought at the OC Fair, Tank ran up on you, and Tank is taunting you. Ryan is continually taunting you on social media, and he's been out of the public eye. So I agree with what Eddie Hearn is saying. Eddie Hearn is telling it like it is for whatever reason. He's saying he's in between a rock and a hard place, basically because of ego and pride. Not ego me, but ego and pride. Devin Haney is going to be prideful, and he's not going to want to step down his purse demands to something more realistic or to take a tune-up necessarily. But what Eddie Hearn is saying is what I've been telling you. Devin should take a year off. I said that from day one because I'm the best in the business. I also said he's in a difficult position, which now is being mimicked and mirrored by what Eddie Hearn is saying. When I said it, y'all said, oh, you're hating on Haney. The Haney-ax came for me and said, oh, you're hating on Haney. But now a guy who worked with him, a white man with blue eyes from Great Britain, Eddie Hearn says it, and now nobody's saying the same stuff that y'all was saying to me. Nobody's calling Eddie Hearn the Haney hater. And he's saying the same things that I said after me. So I must be the greatest. That's why I don't bend, conform, or fold. My opinion, I always speak the truth, whether people like it, whether it resonates, because sometimes things don't resonate immediately, but in the future, they will. And that future is now. And now people have no choice but to admit that Boxing Ego is the best in the business, and it's not even close. You're hearing it from someone who worked directly. Devin is in a tight squeeze, a very difficult position, because he's going to want top dollar, but his stock is not high to receive the top dollar. That's one issue. Issue number two is just being prideful. You feel you were cheated by Ryan Garcia, so you kind of want to pick up where you left off, right? In terms of getting the same type of bag and purses. You want to fight similar competition, but you still went through that. I've already used this example, and I think it's the perfect example for this situation. If one person gets into a car accident and suffers whiplash and injuries, it doesn't matter if the insurance sides with you that you were not at fault and it was the other driver's fault. That's fine and dandy on the insurance side. You don't have to come out of pocket. They're going to be hurt on their driver record, get a point on their record. Their insurance is going to have to pay for it. Cool. It still doesn't change the fact that you went through a car crash and your neck is sore. Your back hurts now. You have PTSD. You still went through that, which is exactly what I said. And it's unfortunate when people test positive for anything, a banned substance, and it's caught after the fact. It's unfortunate because at the end of the day, it got caught when it got caught in this Haney Garcia instance, and the fight had already concluded. But now Devin has to live with the choices he made. You chose Ryan Garcia. You were chasing Tank Davis. You guys picked the fight. And then now you got to live with the results of how it all played out. That's life. Life is unfair. Life throws you lemons. And then now what Eddie Hearn is saying, which is what I've been saying, he's in between a rock and a hard place because he's going to want top dollar. And he said he met with Turkey Al-Sheikh of Riyadh season. And he said the problem is he's going to want Riyadh season to drop a bag on him. But for that to happen, he says Turkey is going to want premium fights like Devin versus Gervonta Davis, which is not going to happen on Riyadh season, in my opinion, or Devin versus Teofimo or Devin Ryan 2. These are extremely dangerous fights coming off the Ryan Garcia first fight. That's for starters. Second, you probably should take a tune-up. But if you're too prideful or if your team doesn't get it, and you're like, nah, I don't want Sandor Martin. Nah, I don't want Liam Paro. or I don't want these tune-ups, then go into a tough fight. But like Eddie Hearn's saying, if you lose that tough fight, your career is in shambles, right? And here's the thing, and this is the conundrum, if you will. Devin Haney, if he does decide what's best based on and given his last fight with Ryan Garcia, then he does do a tune-up. He takes a long while off, a year off, and comes back to a tune-up. But then you're going to have to lower your purse demand, because ain't nobody with a sensible brain that is trying to run and operate a successful business, nobody is going to pay you probably what you're expecting if you're expecting $4+ million to fight super tune-up. You don't command that type of audience. The only people that can get away with that is probably the faces of boxing, a Canelo or Gervonta Davis, because they have shown the propensity and the ability to garner an audience no matter who they fight. Yes, we want to see Canelo payday. You want payday? I know that. We want to see him fight David Benavidez. He's not fighting David Benavidez. He's picking an unproven Puerto Rican guy without a big brand in Edgar Berlanga, and the weigh-in was crazy. I've already made a video about it. That's what happens. He's been in the game, and he has the following that is cult-like, so he can fight a Berlanga, and people can say, oh, I don't really want to see it, but Canelo's fans is coming out for it and supporting it. So, like it or not, when you've worked to that level, you're able to get away with a little bit more. You know what I'm saying? You can fight Avni Yildirim or Billy Joe Saunders, guys that don't have big profiles in America, and nobody else can do as good as you can do. Like, no one else, if, let's say, Danny Jacobs or something fought Billy Joe Saunders and Avni Yildirim, none of them, no one else outside of Canelo in those respective divisions would be able to get a similar gate with the Avni Yildirim or with the Billy Joe Saunders. Same thing with Tank Davis. But Devin is not, he never got to that cusp. He never got to that zenith where he could just fight anybody, Sandor Martin, and it's a huge event for all of boxing. And again, coming off of the Ryan Garcia performance and all that entails, you're definitely in the worst position career-wise that you've ever been in. So this is the seesaw battle that Bill Haney and Devin Haney are going to have to face. And we getting unpacked with it. Subscribe to the channel. They're going to have to either drop the purse demands and do what's right and do a tune-up, which makes more business sense, but you make less money, but you're in a rebuild stage based on the realities of your last fight with Ryan. Or you can sit on this high horse and still be chasing Tank and still say, hey, I'm undefeated. I'm the man. I'm not fighting for less than 2.5 million, 4 million, 8 million, whatever his number is, and then bypass these Sandor Martin fights, bypass these Liam Paro fights. But the other downside and danger with that is that if you bypass a bunch of fights and you can't get picked up as a free agent, then at some point you're not going to have the activity. You're just going to keep sitting on the shelf hoping to score a big fight until somebody honors that. But Eddie Hearn just told you Turkey is going to, if he's going to put up a large chunk of cash for Devin Haney, he's going to want Devin Haney to fight somebody noteworthy. So this is a difficult spot, y'all. I try to tell y'all. And a lot of people, they didn't understand what I was saying. They was like, oh, you're hating. See, a lot of you guys are beta males. A lot of boxing fans are just passion, and emotion. I don't operate like that. I practice stoicism. It's not anything personal against this fighter. It's not what I personally like. It's what I see. And I always provide that. There's a lot of watered down content on boxing on the internet. People rushing out quick videos, 5 minutes or less, lying, clickbait, low visual quality, low audio quality, just to get something out. As you have seen in this very video, Boxing Ego Unpacked, my original series, we unpacked. I'm taking my time with it because I'm different. I'm like Batman. What Batman is to Gotham, that's what I am to boxing. So I don't have to rush. I'm not on anybody else's watch. I talk about what I want to talk about, and I break it down thoroughly for you guys. So hopefully you guys appreciate that. A lot of questions, and something has got to give with Devin Haney. I think he has to budge on maybe some of his demands and do what's right. But I definitely think after a long layoff, a lengthy layoff, he definitely should look at a tune-up style fight or not just going into something crazy. And here's the thing, even at 47, if let's say he's like, I can't make 40, who does he fight? And Eddie Hearn says something that I slightly disagree with. I understood why he said it, but I still disagree with it. He said Devin should fight at a catchweight. But based on how Devin looked in his last fight, what notable fight or fighter is going to fight Devin at a catchweight? Like Devin holds the cards. At a catchweight, in between 40 and 47, Devin's not a champion anymore. He's undefeated by a technicality. So if you're Mario Barrios and you're a champion, right? Why would you fight Devin at a catchweight? If you're Stanionis, if you're Jerron Boots Ennis, who's already big for the division in 147, it's probably hard to make as it is. It's a chore. So that's what I didn't really get from Eddie Hearn is like, who on earth is going to play Devin Haney's game and say, yo, yeah, let me fight Devin at 143 and give him an advantage given the current situation. So like I said, Devin is in between a rock and a hard place. And it's going to be very interesting to see when he comes back and who he comes back to fight. But Eddie Hearn says, if you get this wrong, that's your Mr. Postman, and your career's over. And literally, I said the same thing. You guys hated. Now, I want to hear you guys unpack it in the comment section. Check.